And so I don't think we've ever really gotten to a point where somebody's hardware wasn't supported. You know, if something breaks, then you reinstall Pocket PC and you ship it out to service. And things happen. But it's not really, so that works for small installations and stuff. It doesn't really work for somebody doing a large installation. And so then it gets back to, if it is a large installation, then we can get over the hurdle and get support. Right, the other thing recently is, well, if Dell shipped Linux on that, then we would of course have to do it. I mean, on the Access. Right, that's another thing I forgot to mention. There is somebody working on a Linux port to the Access, and we will probably host it on handheld when it's available. But so I'll come back to all the issues of porting to a platform, I guess. Yeah, it requires pretty much intimate knowledge of the design, which sometimes even HP don't know, because it was done by some other company. And we've actually had to do some reverse engineering of our own design because we don't have the information. Anyway, so I do know that, well, I'll talk about another application. I know that there are some people doing point-of-sale applications, actually deployed in Linux, that they have a point-of-sale application, they run in Linux, it runs on Linux servers and Linux desktop. Now they can just carry it over to Linux iPaq, Linux Handheld. So there's an Italian company that's been running a lot of this stuff. So there is actually commercial use of Linux on the iPaq. So there's not really any big things we can point to. Well, there's one I'm sort of thinking.
What's Sharp's strategy?
Well, the Sharp strategy really is trying to do a PDA.
Okay.
I mean, they are doing PDA. So they're trying to replace, it's a Pocket PC equivalent. And I don't know, I think it's getting there for that kind of thing. If you're just doing it PIM suite. I guess and then the other thing for us is, I don't know, why go to all the trouble to do just a PIM suite? And so we really want to see something that's more about connection and connectivity and sharing devices and stuff. And so maybe this is us coming from HP Labs going, that sounds interesting. But even when we try, yeah, it's partly that, and partly when we talk to the product groups, they're like, that's not interesting enough. And so that's sort of a difference in the strategy, I guess. So the one I can point to that actually ships with Linux and iPaq, really fun, is the Spook network analyzer. So they took a 3800 iPaq and a single PC card sleeve and their own 802.11 card, which seems to have better signal strength and sensitivity, and is good for scanning networks. And so they built a thing that's really for IT people to scan networks to see what have you got out there. So I'll pass this around. So it's right. So this is actually we gave sort of the very short version of this talk to Carly Cuban, the CEO of HP, 4 months ago. Here's a big poster, and this is in the middle of a corner, and we say, $600 iPaq and $200 worth of sleeve and card, and software that isn't actually very much. And they sell it for $4,000 because it pulls together the network analyzer with a way to email your ports in and attach voice memos to the reports and all this stuff. And maybe competitors will bring it down to $2,000, but still that's a lot of margin on top of hardware that we're losing. We have margin now, but we're getting less and less of it. So that's sort of a good example in the field of they're selling, which is what we have a hard time doing for the marketing folks, selling iPaqs with software in a vertical solution for significant markup. And so that gets interesting to the product guys. It's kind of interesting for us because we're supporting somebody's product in HP Labs, but we have to do that to bootstrap it. So to bring an end to the overview part, and we'll dive into some of the detailed stuff. At the website, we have a bunch of sort of zero-cost collaboration tools, zero cost to somebody coming in to try and do stuff. We have the wiki, which is publicly writable. Every once in a while, we get email from somebody going, your website's publicly writable. So, yes, please write. It also is journaled and protected history, so if somebody spams us, we can scroll back to the real content. or if somebody does something inadvertently and deletes stuff, it's going back to real context. And so that's worked really well. It's good for sort of free-form notes. It's not really good for discussion groups. So we have the email and we have a bunch of RC channels. Freenode.net instead. And so those are sort of zero-cost things. So I said the iPaq cluster has a guest account that you can log in without needing a password. And again, that's an advantage to people who want to log in. It's something we have screening filters around it that keep people from doing denial of service attacks from it, and from distributing wares, and throttle based on IP address, and all this great stuff that keeps us from doing real work. But we think it's important enough to keep it open to make it really easy for people to start contributing to the project. We try to make it friendly. We try to make it really easy for people to get into it. And I'll make sure the slides get up on the website so you don't have to cut everything down. So, what's interesting about let me help my hand around these guys.
What do you do the slide?
I actually use PowerPoint, and then I'm running with Open Office.
So you gotta get a copy of those before close it?
Yeah.
On the laptop?
So let's see. This one is GTK, and this one is OPIE. And this is actually okay, so in terms of development, it's the standard API, so everything you know about Linux carries over. Except that you don't have much storage. And the CPU is a little slower than you're going to use these days. And the screen actually, this is old. 320 by 240, the original had 12-bit color, the current ones have 16-bit color. And you have to build an application that has no right mouse button and no keyboard most of the time. So there's all sorts of interesting input methods. So those are sort of the primary constraints on developing for the iPaq. And then how do you compile application? So cross-compiling. So you run on compiler on x86, you generate sound binaries, and you can download full chains of a bunch of different versions from handhelds.org, or GTK, and various places. And so this is nice. It's faster than native compilation on the iPad. It's a lot easier to set up. But make files and configure scripts often don't quite get it right. I think that the configure files have been getting better. Red Hat and Monte Vista have been pushing on cross-compiling for their embedded suites. And so things are improving, but things like the GNOME applications don't like to cross-compile. And so then, so those are the downsides. But the upside is that it's pretty easy to start out. And the other thing is the linker doesn't check what kind of binaries it's linking. So it's easy in cross-compiling to try and link in your x86 libraries out of the user lib. And at least the last time I checked this x86, the ARM Linux LD segbees, which is very friendly. So at least it only does that usually in that one case. It's only does it. So that's cross-compiling, and we do a lot of that. I think GP does a lot of cross-compiling. Kernel will do all cross-compiling. And then there's data development, which is run by the iPaq, or other ARM Linux device. And so it's slower, and I managed to not put up the links of these guys. They're very, very original. iPaq1.handhelds.org, iPaq2.handhelds.org. I think actually the first one that's running right now is iPaq3. But for those guys, you can log in and create stuff, or you can install Debian ARM for iPaq, external storage, and associate all our stuff, and do that stuff there. And then it's exactly like application for Linux. So I'm going to talk about iPaq. So that was in a nutshell, and glossing over some of the hard stuff. Compiling. So iPaq is the technical computer for the iPaq, which actually Versus is using and intrinsic on their interface is actually the same as Debian with less checking on the metadata. So that's, which I have a slide on what that looks like. And then the iPaq is command line tool, and then there's things wrapped around that. So iPaq is update, it goes off and fetches the file from each of the feeds that it knows about to see what packages are available, what's the latest version of each package. And then you install some package, and we'll go fetch it from either, actually I say the feed is over there. The feed can be a local storage, the feed can be over there, it can be local storage. So iPaq is installed, installs the package foo. Actually, first it installs all the things that foo depends on, and then installs foo. And upgrade, if you haven't installed, you want to upgrade to a new version. You install the new version, and again resolves other dependencies. So if the new one depends on new things, it pulls in those things. Remove an info. So those are sort of easy to use, at least for command line. And OPIE has a nice graphical version. And it's easy to produce. So, I don't know if you know the Debian format. Actually, we'll probably have to get over to RPM eventually because of the Linux standard base. But for now, the green box is the iPackage itself. It's a Unix AR archive that has three things in it. It has a file named Debian version, which has some number in it, which I think is 2 all the time, which we ignore. Because you can figure it out from the metadata, which is in the control.tar.gz. And then there's the actual content for the package, which is in the data.tar.gz. So basically, to install something, when you actually get down to installing it, is you unpack the archive, you unpack data.tar.gz, and copy those files in as their name. And the metadata has a control file. Control.tar.gz has all the metadata. The control has package name, package version, author, source URL, license, all that good stuff. Conf files, which is a list of files that should be treated specially, like etsy password. When I update the file, the package that originally on etsy password, I don't want it to overwrite my password file. I want it to, either to preserve the existing one, because it's got my password data in it, or to provide an option of all the different things you can do to install a new one, keep the old one. Then there's some scripts, post-inst, pre-remove. I don't know what else scripts we use. Mostly we use post-inst. Things to do to configure things after you've installed a package. Pre-remove is things to unconfigure it so that things will be in plain state before you remove a package. What's the other key thing? Depends. In the control file, it says what other packages it depends on, so that iPackage can go and pull in the list of all the things that need to be installed and walk through that, do that graph traversal in the right order, and install the packages from wherever they come from. So, so this note down here is, we used to have, for some reason, the outer wrapping was a tar.gz. So things were compressed twice. Of course, the second time compression just wasted CPU and battery and slowed things down. So, and made us non-standard with Debian. So we switched to the archive on the outside. I think it was all because we didn't have a small AR binary to put in the iPaq original. And then we figured out you could do it very few lines of code. And then we found out that BusyBox provided those lines of code. And so we just use AR now. And here's an example of a control file from some package used in that file that I randomly pulled out of the feed. So it's showing sort of what things are on there. Who's a maintainer, which we actually use to build the Bugzilla database. That plus version plus package name. What things it depends on, what architecture it is, and a description for that.